Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about my top historical romances that I read this year that I absolutely love. I'm super excited. I actually thought I read a lot more historical romances than I did, but I read a good chunk and I'm so proud of myself. I really love all of these books and I found some great new authors, so let's get right into it.
About to leave, already packing.
So the first one is called The Dutchess Hunt by Lorraine Heath. I've really fallen in love with Lorraine Heath this year, and especially in the past couple months. She's quickly become one of my favorites. I love her romances. They're super angsty and slow burn and emotional. And so this one is actually one of her newer releases. It might be her newest release. I can't remember. But our heroine is the secretary to our hero, who is a duke, and he is looking for a wife, and she is being enlisted to find him a wife. And he is slowly kind of realizing that he really likes her and she really likes him too. And so they kind of start a romance on the sidelines, and they both really don't want to get with each other because they know they can't be together because of social society. She's lower class and he's upper class, and I really love this book. It was so sweet. They both cared about each other so much, which I really loved. He really appreciates her so much and couldn't imagine his life without her, because he really makes she really makes him who he is and how he runs as a person. And they really brought out the best in each other, which I love. So this is one of my favorites. It's so good, so heartwarming, a really cute romance, so definitely go check it out if you haven't already. Okay, so the next one is The Earl Takes All, and this is by Lorraine Heath also. This is a more like emotional read, and so our heroine, she is pregnant, and her husband went off with his twin brother to Africa, and he comes back and the brother died. But actually the hero is the brother of the husband, and the husband actually died, but the hero doesn't want to tell the heroine that because she has lost miscarried before, and he doesn't want to lose this baby. This is like the one last thing he has left of his brother, and so he pretends to be her husband. And it's so good, and I loved how when she realizes that it is not her husband, she kind of comes to terms with it and is like, okay, well, I guess I love both of them. And she has like a different romance or love for the hero than her late husband, and it was just amazing. I really love this book. It was so good, and I loved how they both kind of went through their mix of emotions and kind of tried to figure it out on their own before they quickly made the decision to get back together. But it was so good. I highly recommend. This next one is called The Bride by Julie Garwood. Julie Garwood is one of my favorite historical romance authors. And this is an older historical. I think it was made, I don't know when it was, copyright 1989. So this one, our heroine, she is supposed to marry this like laird, and she's English. And I think also her sister is supposed to marry another laird or something, and so she goes on this like adventure with her soon-to-be husband to their land, and it's kind of like a travel romance. It's really good. I love this book. It was so much fun, and I loved the Scottish vibes and Highlander vibes. I always imagined Jamie from Outlander, the show, and the book. So I just really love this book. But there is a lot of misogyny towards women in this book, which I didn't really appreciate, but the romance was just so good, and I just loved it, so definitely go check it out. Okay, so this next book is called Allscott and Bother by Kerrigan Byrne. I read one book, another book besides this one by Kerrigan Byrne, and really loved it, and her romances are typically darker. And so our heroine, she kind of has a rough start to her life. Her father is very mean to her about her weight, and she kind of gets taken out of that situation, gets put into society very quickly, and she makes this friend group at this school, and that's kind of what the series revolves around. And so she meets our hero one night, and it is at like a party for her friend, and he is instantly enamored with her, and she's kind of enamored with him too, I guess. But she is taking on the task of acquiring her, I think her aunt's like school for girls, but there have been rumors, there's been some sus things going on there, but she knows that that's not true, and he thinks it's true because he's like, I guess like a cop or something in England, but he's Scottish, and she kind of has to play this charade of this woman who is like known as like the owner of the school for girls, and he really hates her. And then when he finds out that they're the same woman, but she has never really been that woman before until now. But it's so good. It's really angsty. They go off to like Scotland for a night away, and it's so good. It's also kind of single mother, and there's kind of this mystery going on because some crazy things are happening. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It felt kind of like fall vibes, and I really love this one. So if you haven't already, you should go check it out. Okay, so this next one is called The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. This is the second book in the Bridgerton series. I read this in maybe January, and really loved it. And so The Duke and I did enjoy, but I didn't like that particular scene in that book. But this one was kind of a total turnaround. I thought this was absolutely hilarious, so cute. And so our hero, he really wants to get married, but he doesn't want to marry somebody who he will love because his father did that and he died, and he knows the effects of what that happens to the family and the wife, and so he doesn't want to marry for love, but he is looking for somebody to marry. And so our heroine, her sister is in his sights, and he's trying to court her and marry her because she is very pretty and blah blah blah, and he doesn't feel anything towards her. But the sister of the heroine, who's the sister, is like, no, you're not gonna marry my sister, you're a playboy, you're a rake. And so he kind of has to win this, like, the heroine over, but then he ends up falling in love with her, and it's so cute. It was adorable. I remember loving this so much, but he's very against love. I did give this one 4 stars, but I still really loved it. It was so hilarious and amazing, so definitely go check it out. I really like the series. And I cannot wait for the second season of the show. Okay, so this next one is called Mine Till Midnight by Lisa Kleypas. This one was so good. So our heroine, she is trying to put her family back together, and they're very poor because I think her father passed away, and so she's trying to like be money cautious, and her brother is kind of not in the right mind to deal with that stuff. He lost his first love, and he is kind of very messed up over that. And so she ends up going to their like chateau in like, I guess, the countryside, and before that she met our hero, I think in like a dark alley or something. He Cam, I can't remember correctly, I think he might own like a gambling house, I don't know, but she meets him and she's kind of like instantly enraptured with him. And so they meet again at like her neighbors at the chateau, I think, and they really like each other, and I just remember loving it so much. It's kind of fuzzy what the storyline is, but it was really, really good. So definitely go check this one out. Read the synopsis because I obviously cannot tell you guys. I don't know why. It's like fuzzy because I always get this one mixed up with Once a Summer's a Night for some reason, but I just remember loving this one so much, and Cam is one of my favorite heroes ever. Okay, so this next one is called If the Duke Demands by Anna Harrington. So I thought this one was so much fun, and our heroine, she has always loved this, or admired, like, slash felt a love for this guy, and so she decides to kind of seduce him, and she ends up accidentally like seducing her brother. I mean, not her brother, his brother, his older brother, and it's really hilarious, and she's kind of mortified, but also like feels like this attraction towards him. And so she's trying to, throughout the book, like make the hero's brother fall in love with her, but she ends up falling in love with the brother of who she's like the hero, I guess. The hero. And I remember just loving it. It was super angsty, and he's a duke, And so he's like, well, I can't marry her because she's lower class. And I love those types of romances. I think they're really fun, and I like how they kind of figure out the obstacle of that. I just remember really enjoying it, and it was really good, so definitely go check it out. Okay, another one that I think is it's one of my top 3 favorites of 2021, and that's Her Night with the Duke by Diana Quincy. I just remember loving this one. I loved how diverse it was. It was super unique. So our heroine, she is a widow, and she is staying at this like tavern, and she meets this guy, and he's super hot, and she's on her way to meet her, I think her stepdaughter, because she's getting married. And so they have this one night of passion in tavern, and this like tavern thing, and the next day she goes to meet her stepdaughter, and her stepdaughter's new like fiance or husband, well, not husband yet, but like they're gonna get married, and it's the guy she had a one-night stand with. So he was instantly raptured with her and didn't like expect that he was gonna have this one-night stand with her. But I remember it being super angsty and just delicious, and it was so good. And he thinks that he needs to marry her stepdaughter, but also really wants her, and is like, well, you could be like my side thing. She's like, no, if we're gonna be together, I want to be your wife. And it was so good. So definitely go check this out. She, I think, is, I can't remember if she's Egyptian or, I don't remember, but I definitely know she's not from England, which was really interesting, and she kind of brought some of her cultures with her to the story, which I really loved and thought was very unique, and we don't see that a lot in historical romances, so I loved some diversity, and this was just fantastic, so definitely go check it out. Okay, so the next book is probably maybe my top, in the top 3. This is the other top 3, part of the top 3, and that's Then Came You by Lisa Kleypas. So this is an older historical, and I love Lisa Kleypas so much. And so our heroine, she's kind of this like flamboyant, like flavorous woman, and I really love that about her. She's very carefree. And like the first meeting, she meets the hero, and she like drops her scarf in the Thames River, and she like actually like dives in to go get it. He's like, that's a horrid woman, like she is so a menace to society, all this stuff. But he just keeps seeing her, and he's like kind of enraptured, not enraptured, I keep using that word, but it's true for a lot of historicals. But he just is very intrigued by her, and is kind of like, not like kind of grossed out by her, but then they slowly, after being with each other, like seeing each other so many times, he kind of falls for her first, and she falls for him too. But it's just so good, and I really loved it. And he falls first, and I thought that was so cute, and I just remember loving this book. It was so much fun. It was hilarious. Lily is such a fun character, and Alex is kind of stuck up, but he really likes her, and I just loved that about this book. And I loved how they both fell for each other, and it was just so good. Okay, so this next book I read recently, and I think this is the other book that's part of my top 3. Like, it was just so good. And that's Never Desire Duke by Lily Dalton. I was apprehensive about this book. This is a Christmas historical romance, but it was so good. Oh my gosh. It's a marriage in trouble romance. And so our hero, he was like thought to have cheated on his wife, but he didn't. And this like news of him cheating on her, she ended up losing her baby. And so ever since then, they've been estranged. She doesn't trust him, and now he's back in town after a year of being abroad, and she's kind of like, like, I don't want to be near you. But then they get stuck at one of their family homes for Christmas, and she's like freaked out, like, I want to spend family time with I want to spend Christmas with my family. And he's like trying to get them out, but they're slowly falling back in love with each other, and he's really groveling and showing her that he is here for her. And it's really cute. I just remember loving it so much. There was some angst to it because she really didn't want to give him a second chance, because she's just so hurt by him, but she couldn't help herself, and he really had changed for the better. And I just love this book so much. So the last and final book is Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. This book was just fantastic. This is Derek Craven's story. And so I think, so our heroine, she is a writer and she's in the big city of London to find her next novel and research it. And so she meets Derek randomly in an alley when he's getting attacked, and she kind of saves him. And so he takes her under his wing, and he really doesn't want to like her, but he does, and it's really, really cute. And they kind of start off this like weird like romancy thing happening, and he really doesn't want to like her, but she goes in secret to this like masquerade ball and like kind of tricks him, and it's so good. And then she goes back home to her small town, and he can't stop thinking about her. She can't stop thinking about him, and then she sees him again at like a party, and they're like, oh, I miss you so much. And it's just so much longing and love for each other, and I loved it so much. It was so good. Derek Craven is worth the hype. I love this book. Alright, so that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed listening to my favorite historical romances of 2021. I had so much fun. I read so many good historicals this year. Definitely down below let me know what your favorite historicals were this year, because I would love to know. I need some more recs always. And I hope you are having a great start to 2022. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I'm super excited for this upcoming year, and I think good things are going to be there for all of us. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.